Okay, we're recording office hours now. Um, so one of the things I can do is I can see this, the students can't see this. But then when I go to the answer key, my question is still here. I have to add in my correct ones. For this is for a short answer. I can also add answer feedback. Where
Yeah.
I run into problems a lot of times is like, well, I want to go back to my question. How do I do that? You have to click the done to get back to your question again.
Right.
And so I'm going to do a preview so we can see what the student sees, okay?
Okay.
And so I'm previewing it. So this is what our student sees right now. And so they don't see anything other than the short answer. And so I would have to type that in. And I think that was like mean.
So okay, because at first I had tried, show correct answer. But like I said, the first link I sent, when I opened it up, it didn't allow me to type anything. But like I said, it said edit at the end of that link. And
And
so,
that would be because you were in an editing form. And so I
yep.
did good. I got everything right. Go me. Um, you know, it's hard. It feels like Monday again.
Right.
But so now I can go in, I can look at the responses. So I'm back on my edit and I can look at the responses. And so I can see exactly how this one student did.
Right.
But doing the preview is actually a really good idea because then I can go in and I can look at what's required and make sure that I haven't overlooked something that I want to be required. Make sure that I don't have some weird spacing here. I mean, and so that's like, oops, I guess I should have had the
Right.
question here, and it's just how I was doing it. I can also edit here if I want to say, okay, I see an error. I can just click on the little pencil down here and it'll take me back and I can go in and edit my question again if I
Oh,
want to.
okay.
So
And they see how much points. That's something else the students see if you've
so like I saw
assigned.
my points. So I
Mhm.
got 10 out of 10 points.
Right.
And it shows me that I did everything right. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go back and I'll do another dry run where we pretend I don't do everything right. So I'm gonna say Bismarck because they're all the same, right? And this is weird because I pulled in from other questions. So I got them all wrong now, you guys. It's gonna be horrible. Okay, so my response has been recorded. I'm gonna view. I got 0 out of 10. And so now we see, what's the capital of South Dakota.
Oh, I see. Okay. So if you get it wrong, that's when, if you've selected correct answers, that's when it shows them the correct answer then. Yeah.
Right,
Like
right.
I
And
said with that,
I don't think, yeah, this one it doesn't show me the correct answer. So I probably need to go in and edit that one and make sure that that shows the correct answer. Here it tells me the correct answer is 8. And I have feedback. Try again. Um, so these are those kinds of things that, I just encourage you to you know, test them like this just to kind of see what's happening. Just because the other thing that I see with Google is they're constantly adding and doing new things, and so it's like, oh, I didn't know you could do that, or and like in fact, or I didn't remember. Sometimes I just don't remember that they can do, things that they do too. So
right.
um, lots of different options there. But it's nice if you're looking at younger students, you can bring in a lot of images and so you have options to to make it more visually appealing because um, you can also bring in videos. You know, you can really add content to this to help
Mhm.
help everybody. And so like when I did this, when I made this video, or when I made this apple example, you could not have an image in the question. And now you can have an image in the question. So that's like super fun.
Oh, cool.
And this one here, we need to go and I need to do the answer key. I need to note the correct answer, and then I can answer feedback. And so there again, so that was something that because I looked at my answers, I saw that I hadn't noted that.
Okay. Well,
Cool.
thank you.
Yeah, no, this is fun. I mean, I love Google. I just think it's so fun to go in and test things out. So we have a really great question about, can students access Google at home with like if they don't have internet? And so that's a yes and no question. And so we can look at it, and then we can also kind of brainstorm like how you would want to have that be set up. And so one of the things that you can do with Google Class or with Google is, but you can only do it with Google, um, with the apps, the files. You're not able to access like Google Classroom necessarily. You have to be in, so you have to turn on offline access. And so it goes through the steps that you need to do. You also need to open your Google Docs sheets and slides, and then you need to make it so that they can edit offline. And then once they've done that, you can select files that you want to edit offline. You can preview those files. And so it works. Um, where we've had problems with it is, if you're doing collaborative work and I work on a document offline and you work on a document online, you end up with kind of a mess. But so you do have the option, especially for students that aren't doing the collaborative work. If you're just doing an assignment, they can turn on the offline access and access it offline, and then it'll sync up when they come back to school or come back to internet or whatever. Does that answer that question? Yes, yes. If you somebody noted about, you know, you've had messes as teachers working on collaborative documents offline, because when I worked for the state library, one of the things we wanted to do is we wanted to be able to go into schools and, you know, like have a collaborative document that we could update. Well, schools, we can't always get on their internet, and so it was like, well, we weren't on the internet, well, we could use offline. It was just ugh, icky. So that is a struggle with the offline files. All right, what else? Does anybody else want to share, ask questions? Aaron, are you still doing good?
Yeah, I was going to ask about, I have two Google Drive accounts,
Oh,
one
fun.
my college account,
Mhm.
and I don't know if I'll be able to access that here coming up because it's my college email. Is
Mhm.
there a way I can transfer that stuff to my K-12?
You can. Um, there's a couple of different ways you can do that. And it really just depends on, so I'll show you. You can do a couple different things. So I'm going to pop into my drive. So let me share my screen again. So in my drive, I wonder if I can open any more tabs. Do you guys think it's possible? All right. So in my drive, one of the things that I can do is I can share files. And so I could say, okay, I don't really want to be in my classroom folder, but I can say I'm going to take this folder and I'm going to share it with personal me, okay? And so I'm going to share it with my TIGAPS account. And I'm going to send it over. So one of the challenges is I'm still the owner over here. And so I don't, if I lose access to it, and your folders are all deleted, personal me will also lose access to it. Does that make sense? And so what I would do is I would go over to personal you or K12U or whatever, whoever you are. And I'm going to look at my new shared with me. I can then, whoops, apparently lots of things are shared with me. I can do a couple of different things. I can, if I add a shortcut to my drive, it does not mean that I've made a copy of it. I can go in to the folder and make a copy of all the files. If you have them all like that, I can right click on them and I can say make a copy. And then that means that I will have my own copy. And so if your content is all deleted, the other thing you can do, and it just depends on how much content you have, you can download entire folders. And so you can download it and then go to your K12 Google and upload it. And then it will remain yours. The only thing I would caution you on that is making sure your settings that you do have that turned on, the convert, because if you upload a file or a folder with like PowerPoint or Word, it will end up kind of creating those duplicates in there. But yeah, so you can either download the file onto your computer, upload it into your new Google Drive, or you can share your files over and then just make a copy in your new Google Drive. And it depends on how much you have. I don't know how much you have. So
All right, I'll give that a try.
cool, I can't wait.
Thanks.
All right, what else? You guys have all talked.
Well, as long as you're talking about sharing things, many of us have a lot of things saved in OneDrive.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way to transfer some of those things into the
Google.
Google Classroom or Google Drive so we have access to it?
There is, and so you can do two different things. Apparently, my options today are two. You have two options. So with moving from OneDrive to Google Drive, you can upload files. And so, like for example, if you have your files in OneDrive, so I've got files over here in OneDrive, I can just drag them over and drop them into my Google Drive and they will just transfer, okay? So that would be the easiest way to do it. If you say, okay, I've got, my folder from last year and in OneDrive and I want it in Google Drive, you can just drag and drop it over. The other thing you can do is when you're in Google Classroom and you're creating something, you can add any kind of file. And so if I want to select files from my device, I can click on that and then it'll go out, and as long as I have OneDrive linked on my computer, and I do, I can go in and I can bring in any OneDrive file or any files that I want. And so now I've added this file. It looks like it's a docx. The thing here is it won't convert it. It's going to be a Word document. Whereas if I do the drag and drop over, I get the option to convert it. So if I do, because of my desktop. So like over here, if I drag it over, and I had convert checked, when I drag it over, it will bring it in as a Google file. And so here you see it as I brought it into my class. This is something I just brought into that class as a Word doc. This brings it in as the Google Doc. So it would probably be easier to bring things in, just drag them in, and then you get that conversion and you're dealing in Google Docs. But if you have to, you can pull them off of your, you can pull them, you can just add them from your computer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I have students with different portfolios, like a writing portfolio in Office 365 on their OneDrive.
Mm-hmm.
Will it matter if they just leave it there?
No, I mean, it really, basically, when you're looking at assignments and you're looking at how they're sharing their work. So I'm going to pop back over to me as a student. And so here I am as a student, and I can go in and look at this assignment, and I'm not, obviously I'm not doing anything here, but in this assigned work, I can go out and I can add either a file if I wanted to upload it, or I could just add a link. And so if I have something in Office 365, I can get a link to that file and I can just link it in. At that point, they would need to make sure they're sharing it, but it's not a horrible thing. And I think that's a struggle because you guys are using, two different platforms kind of seamlessly. I mean, just because you've got, different areas. But I think having the option to, like say, we're going to turn our work in here and just know that will make it easier.
Is the only time then that you can transfer it is when you are making an assignment?
Oh no, you could do it. I mean, you can just drag and drop stuff right now if you want. If you want to, if you're like, it's summer and I have nothing to do, I'm gonna organize my life. Come do mine when you're done with yours. You can drag and drop files and put things in. I just would really recommend that you like set up folders and set up some sort of an organization structure, because if you just have loose files in Google Drive, it gets out of control really, really quickly, as it does in Teams too, or in Office 365 too. You guys are just so much fun. Any other questions? We're running out of time. Yeah, files out of control. I really do. I do try to take like time. I mean, whether it's during the summer, Christmas break, but to kind of sit and look at my files, because um, while I don't like to delete anything because you never know when you're going to need to pull it out and use it. So a conference that I facilitated online in 2015, I used all of those documents and skills to move the Thai conference online. And so I was so thankful I still had them. So I just try to kind of archive things and organize them and keep the chaos controlled. All right, if you guys don't have any other questions, we can wrap it up, or else we can look at, I don't know if I've looked at everybody's quizzes and Google Classrooms.